Hello, Billy. This is Rudy Sarzo from Quiet Riot. I hear you have a new epic poetry book that just came out 3 months ago called The Ghost Inside Me, Even More Tales from the Baron. Available online on Amazon and everywhere books are sold. And as a published author myself, you want to know some tips on spreading the word about your book. That's a great question, but I'm going to start my story from the very, very beginning. The motivation for writing my book, Off the Rails, which I have right here. Okay, believe it or not, I started writing it about 22, 23 years ago. 2001, 2000. And yeah, I started writing it like at the very end of that version of Quiet Riot, which I'm again in the band, Quiet Riot band, today in 2023, 20 years later. But I started writing the book, and there's one reason why I started writing the book. I don't know how you are, but actually 23 years ago, the internet was in its infancy. Very young. Very young. I remember getting AOL and all of that, initial stuff that you had to dial it up to get online in 1997. So imagine 4 years. So it was basically a wild, wild west. Anybody could post anything, and usually any conspiracy theories or innuendos or lies or whatever that people post just to get some attention. If somebody doesn't come along to deny it and tell the truth, the lie will become a fact, which is my reason for my motivation for writing this book. There were so many conspiracy theories and innuendos and just a lot of garbage out there. People saying things about how Randy died and why he died and all of that. It was just horrible, horrible stuff. So I say, you know what? I'm one of the very few people that was actually there. And not only there, but I spent the before and the aftermath of Randy's crash. So, and I got to play with him in Quiet Riot and all that. So, there was plenty of a story to tell. But at the core of the book was just talking about the crash, how it happened, why. But I had to go from the very beginning in the book. Me joining the band in the 70s and so on. And that was my sole motivation for writing the book. So having said that, I started writing a few chapters, and I approached a dear friend of mine who was one of the main publishers at Guitar World, and they had a major publishing company that, as it happens, they also publish Ozzy's songbook, the sheet music. So I'm writing the book, I'm moving right along, and it's finished, and it's about to go into print, and the publisher receives a cease and desist letter from Sharon saying that they cannot release the book. And if they do, they threaten to take away the sheet music business that they have brought to this publisher. And so I got dropped immediately. But the book was finished. And I'm talking about 2005. It sat on a shelf for a while, literally. And of course, I had a digital copy because I wrote it on my laptop, so everything was digitized already. And then I came across the information that I'm pretty sure you're aware of, because if you have your book available on Amazon, I'm pretty sure that Amazon is self-publishing it for you. So I did that. I did, and you know the process if you're, if you do the same thing as I do. But this was 20 years ago. And what was really interesting was that it was the very beginning of when they start doing the print per order books, and they didn't have it down like they do now. I mean, I got all my copies that I give people, as gifts. I buy them from Amazon, and now they're perfect, really well bound and the whole thing, But in the old days, they used to fall apart. Pages would come off and everything. So for about 2 or 3 years, I did that, but I could not get it in the stores. So I was approached by a publisher. Even though I was getting a better rate, split between Amazon and me, higher rate, This person offered me a way lower rate, but they say that they were going to be able to get it in the stores. And I thought, well, this is the type of book. I mean, I'm doing this for Randy, and I want Randy's story to be available beyond, the print per order, which was not as hip as it is today. Now, so many people do that. But, almost 20 years ago, it was kind of like, how good can the book be when it cannot get published? So anyways, they took my text and they reorganized the book, reblocked it to look a certain way and a different cover and so on. And as soon as they did that, I did a tour, what they call a tour, go to radio, get on the phone with radio stations to talk about the book and so on. Right after the book got released with this publisher, stores started closing down. Bookstores, they went out of business. So it's like now I'm stuck for 7 years with this, and they're not doing anything for me. And also, in my contract, they were not allowed to do electronic downloads like Kindle and stuff like that. Because I figure, I want the book in the stores. If I want to do Kindle, I might as well do it myself, And also, there was no advance from these guys. So I didn't have to recoup anything. As soon as my deal was done with them 7 years later, I got back the rights to my book, and they've been available on Amazon ever since. There's a reason why I wrote it. A motivation is over here in the back of it, explaining, again, like I told you, about, to dispel all of the innuendos and all of the conspiracy theories regarding Randy's death. And it still rings true. And people ask me when I'm going to write another book. No, I need a pure, organic inspiration to spend a year and a half out of my life, away that I just put into the writing of the book, which is what I did. I went through 2 laptops, 3 bands. I was in the last 4 mental health member reunion of Quiet Riot that lasted until 2003. And then I did a tour with Yngwie Malmsteen, a very short tour. I was still riding in the bus. And then I finished it off when I was a member of Dio. And the book was finished. And then later on, a couple of years later, like I told you before, because I got dropped by the publisher that we shared the same as the Osbournes, I released it on Amazon. Now it's back on Amazon. I'm quite pleased with it because you know what? I just wrote it, and I leave it out there for anybody who wants to know the story of Randy Rhoads. And it's sometimes I even forget that I wrote the book. But nevertheless, I'm very proud of it. I'm very proud of the story and the people in my life that are part of the story. And that was my motivation, And anytime people ask me about Randy and so on, they ask me a lot of personal questions, and I always refer to the book because, I know the reason why I wrote it is because I did not want to relive the crash over and over again. Every time somebody asked me, so how was it? Well, how did it happen? Now I got to go back to that moment in time. And it's painful. And it takes me a while to recover. So they really want to know what it's all about. It's right here in the book. So I hope I was able to give you some reference, some answers to your question. And the most important thing, you wrote the book. It's there. Just let people know about it. Talk about it. Go online, go on podcasts, go on interviews, and let the world know about it. Okay? You take care, and God bless you.